All right, let's get down into it. Hello, friends. So glad to see you all once again in my new studio. My first official video in the new studio. If you haven't seen my last video that I posted last week, moving to this new studio, then you'll have to check that out. I gotta reorient myself. It's in one of the corners. A little behind the scenes look of moving into this new space. But this is my first official video here in the new studio. And as promised, I'm going to announce what my next season of shows is going to be very shortly. I mentioned this in the last video, but I mean it even more now because, truth be told, I shot that video a couple of months ago, and even the first part was even further ago, almost. See, it was the end of the summer 2019, so it's been 9 months since I shot that first portion. And here I am now, finally in the zoo studio, finally getting this back and up and going. And so I even mean it more now, how excited I am to be back. And this seems like the appropriate time. In my last video, I had shot that before any of the things that are going on in our nation and in our world are going on with the coronavirus or the COVID-19. So I wasn't being insensitive to what was going on. I didn't know any of that was going on when I shot that. And I don't want this channel to be too much about, there's plenty of sources to get the real information of what's going on and more up-to-date information on what's going on than anything I could provide. But this seemed like as good a time as any to come back in full force and start producing videos. I, like most of the world, am quarantined right now. I don't have any of the symptoms of the virus, but I am doing my due diligence to stay home and to socially distance or physically distance myself from others as much as I can. Fortunate enough to be in a job that I'm able to work from home and still be able to do the same sorts of things that I had been doing. And I know there's lots of things that are going on and a lot of confusion and a lot of worry and fear that's going on. And, all I can say is that we will get through this. This will pass. And I think the more that all of us can do our part, you've heard a lot of people talking about it, but it's going to flatten that curve. And that's really all as far as I want to get into that. But as we're home and as we have a lot more free time than what we normally would with all the sorts of entertainment and sorts of things out there that are closing and keeping us indoors, I thought this was the perfect time. Obviously, this wasn't planned, but I thought now is as good a time as ever to come back in full force, give you a little bit of entertainment, give you a little bit of encouragement to seek out your entertainment. So I had put it out there now almost a year ago, asking people to tell me what series they would like me to review next. And I even said I was willing to veer away from the DC animated world or the superhero genre even, and I could get into other series or other shows that we grew up on in the 80s and 90s, and it was an overwhelming response that a majority of people wanted to see me do Batman Beyond. And certainly that falls next in the line of chronological events from Batman the Animated Series to Superman to the New Adventures of Batman. So it only seemed appropriate that I would be reviewing Care Bears as my next series here on the channel. No, I'm just kidding. I will be doing Batman Beyond right here, episode by episode. We're going to have a new episode coming out every Tuesday and Thursday. I think that that's a frequency that I can keep up with and be able to now with the new space and new abilities to just start recording and jump into those. And I encourage all of you that a lot of you I know have done this in the past, that to watch the shows along with me. If you haven't seen the series before, or even if you had seen it before, I'm going to be watching them based on the release order of Internet Movie Database. I know there's sometimes some discrepancies in there of when the show actually came out versus when it was aired, but I'm going to be going off of that as the definitive source, whether it's right or wrong. That's the order that I'm going in. So I encourage you, watch along with me. You know what the episodes are that are coming out, and I'll be telling you, reminding you what the episode is that's coming up next. And I encourage you to watch the show yourself through fresh eyes as an adult, and maybe jot down a few of your own ideas and be prepared to comment those below. And if you don't have the series on DVD, I know they just released it on Blu-ray as well. On DC Universe, they have the entire series, so you can watch along on there. If you don't have that yet, it's a great service that has a lot of the animated series as well as movies, and the digital comics is something that I've really been getting into lately. And so you can watch along there. If you don't have it yet, check it out. I know they have a trial period that you can demo it for a little while and see if you like it, and watch along with me on there. Now, truth be told, when Batman Beyond came out, I was, let's see, it was 1999, would have been a sophomore in high school. So I was really getting into theater at that point and doing a lot of shows, and spent a lot of my evenings and weekends at the school and the theater department. And so I wasn't watching a lot of TV. And of course, for those of you that don't remember, in those days, you was either watching the shows live or investing the time and money into a VHS tape and programming it to record those shows. Otherwise, you just had to wait to see them in the reruns. Now, I had seen Batman Beyond here and there, absolutely was not following it to any high level. And having grown up with Batman the Animated Series and Superman and that, this show is obviously made for kind of a younger audience. And at that time, I was a little bit older than what it was, the demographic that it was going for. And I remember watching a few episodes. I was excited when it came out that, oh, maybe this is something that's neat. And it didn't hold my attention, the few episodes that I watched, and I moved on to other things. It's only been in recent history that I've heard so many people talking about how great it is and how good of a series. And I know for me, for people that are my age, growing up with Batman the Animated Series, that's the definitive animated Batman that made us all big fans of the show now. And I know for the generation a little bit younger than I am, for you, Batman Beyond was the definitive series that defined Batman for you and made you a fan of Batman. And for that, great. I mean, that's good. And I think that everybody owns that. So for me, I'm coming at this series a little pretty fresh. I didn't watch enough of it to form a solid opinion about it, and kind of ruled it out early on. And I'm going at it. And I mean, I would say there's probably just a handful of episodes that I had already seen at this point, which is sort of the reason why I was a little hesitant to jump into that series to review, because I don't have a lot of the history with it that many of you have. But I think that's okay, because I'm going to rely on those of you to offer that history and the nostalgic feelings up to me. And I'm going to give you a brand new take as a true Batman fan, as a true fan of the DC animated world. And we'll kind of meet in the middle. I do want to try my best not to compare it to Batman the Animated Series, because I do know enough about it to know that they're very different series. Obviously, it takes place in the future. It's an older Bruce Wayne, and another character, Terry McGinnis, takes up the mantle of Batman and kind of work together. So it's a very different story, and it's not dealing with the same things that Batman the Animated Series did, and it's a brand new take. So I'm going to try my best, and I'm sure that I will fail at this, but I'm going to try my best to not do a lot of comparing between the two series, because I want them to be very separate. So I'm going to be starting on that now. I am jumping into watching the episodes and recording the episodes, and I'm going to try to kind of block, just to give you a little behind the scenes of how this works, is I'm going to try to record as many of the episodes up front as possible, and then work on editing them out and releasing them 2 every week as we go. And I'm hoping that that'll give me a little bit more free time once I get over that initial hurdle, the bulk hurdle of getting those produced and out to you, to free me up to do some other things, because I want to utilize this space more to be able to produce more videos. And especially given the circumstances that we're all living in the world, I'm seeing a lot of neat things going on as a society, of us creating other ways of hanging out together and other ways of interacting with people socially. And for me, that's a big thing that I want to utilize here on the channel, that I have this ability. And it was so refreshing to put that last video out that I posted last week of the new studio, and getting just some really very kind, very sweet comments back from all of you echoed my same feeling, that we're excited to see me back, and I'm excited to be back. So I'm kind of exploring some different options, and I'm open to some suggestions from all of you of what that looks like. I have a little bit of a better setup right now to do live videos. I know I did one live video when we hit the 1,000 subscriber mark, and so I want to do more of those. And I thought of doing, which, by the way, side note, is that in the hiatus just before I released that last video, I had hit 2,000 subscribers. So we now passed that milestone, which is crazy to think that just in a little over a year, I doubled the amount of subscribers that it took me about 2 years to build. So thank you. And if you're one of those new post-1,000 subscribers, thank you for being here. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe. If you haven't yet subscribed, please jump below and hit that subscribe button, because there's some great content that's coming out for you. But that being said, I'm hoping to utilize that structure of doing some live videos or some kind of hangout sort of things. I had the idea of doing some like watch parties with some of our favorite movies from the DC animated world. You know, I could start a live stream and we can all hit play at the same time, and we can, you know, comment back and forth to each other, or maybe we could even do like a Google Hangout with some people and see how that works. I don't know. Just some different ideas to interact with each other. And I know Netflix is doing some things like that, actually structured in Netflix to do some hangouts. And I'm open to suggestions. So if you have some thoughts of how we can interact socially with each other without getting close to each other, this is a great platform. And we live in a wonderful day and age with the internet and streaming services to be able to do all sorts of things like that. And I know, me, for one, that is and is going to continue to be one of my greatest challenges. Is I am a relatively social person. I like interacting with human beings. And as you know, I'm very involved in theater as well. I was in a show just when this happened, and it, like most of the theaters throughout the country, had to close early. And it's disappointing, because that's a major social outlet for me, is theater and communities and hanging out with friends and going to the movies and doing those sorts of things, which aren't an option right now. And that's okay. That's just a new normal that we're all navigating right now. And it's encouraging to see that there are so many people out there with so many different ideas and so many new ways of approaching this same challenge, that we can explore that. So it's my commitment to do my small part in this world of entertaining those people out there that are stuck at home. And if you're not stuck at home, if you're stuck at work, I don't know, you can watch these videos just the same, but finding the new layer of the social interactions that we could have. There's about to be a cat fight down here. So those are just some of my ideas. Again, please let me know in the comments below if you have a suggestion of something that we could do to hang out together through this wonderful world of the internet and talk about those things that we all know and love. And I'm excited. I'm excited to jump into Batman Beyond, like I said, because it's sort of a new series for me that I don't have a lot of past experience with. And so I think it's going to be a different take on it than what I've been able to offer from the past series that I've done. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your patience and the warm welcome that I received when I finally came back. This wasn't planned, but here we are. It is what it is. And as I mentioned in my last video, this wasn't a planned hiatus, but I think it was good for me to take a little bit of a break. You hear a lot about YouTube burnout, and certainly in my little small channel that I do, I can see where that comes from, is that it is a lot of work to produce these videos on a regular basis. So it was good for me to take a little break, but now I'm ready to get back into it, and I'm excited to utilize this new space in some weird way. How the universe works, this came at a very appropriate time, that we all have a little bit of extra time on our hands, me to produce videos and you to watch them. So I think it all works out in the end. So thanks again for watching. Thank you so much for all your support. And I look forward to seeing you next week as we start reviewing Batman Beyond. I was going to say Brave and the Bold. That'll be another series. As we start reviewing Batman Beyond As always, thank you so much for watching. I'm Andy Canone, and I'll see you soon.